Imagine a girl confesses to you. So you go to the barber to get a glow up that you terribly need. But then the girl says,
Ew, you got a haircut? I'm so done with you. Bye.
so then at that point, you arrive at school as usual and then pull out your AK-47. Okay, that escalated more than I intended it to. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that this is the current state of the world we live in now. We are cooked. More cooked than ever before. Just in a while we could have robots take over the world with AI or a nuclear war or some other thing. I mean, we literally have people becoming transformers nowadays, and we're debating whether transformers should be allowed to go to the woman's bathroom or not. But more than that, I think a major problem that humans generally have is that we are just plain haters. We cancel people pretty much over anything nowadays. We don't really think twice about it. A wise man once said that the opposite of love is not hate, but apathy or neglect. When I first heard this, I was like, nah bro, I'm pretty sure it's hate. But the more I thought about it, it made a little more sense. I mean, we tend to think that cold is the opposite of hot and dark is the opposite of light. But actually, cold is just the absence of heat and dark is the absence of light. Which is why the opposite of love could very well be apathy or neglect. Or rather, just the absence of it. I think, as humans, we all lack love. I'm not talking about love as the world gives, but the unconditional love that could only come from God. I mean, if I heard that in some random country 100,000 people just died because of a natural disaster yesterday, I would probably say, dang bro, that's tough. Which makes me think that we are simply not able to care enough about people outside our inner circle.
Actually, as humans, we are meant to survive, which means that we cannot worry about every single detail and every single person. That would simply be inefficient for our lifestyle.
Okay, that's true, and that's a totally fair point. But even if we only care about those who are immediately around us, we still lack love for them. As people, we have this notion of give and take. You have something for me, so I would have something for you. Or vice versa. I have something for you, so you would have something for me. So even for those in our social circle, people we meet every day, whether they are family or friends or mere acquaintances, we just don't spread love as much as we should. See, at some point every kid and everyone wanted to become a superhero. For what? To save people, of course. But honestly, being a doctor or a policeman would do the same. But that's much more underwhelming than being a superhero, isn't it? In the end, most people only want to help if it glorifies themselves. Oftentimes when people see someone in need, they just pass by. At the end of the day, most people don't bother to care, thinking that they are too busy with their own lives to care for others. But this also goes for our own families, bruh. See, if you see your mother work a 9-to-5 job 5 days a week, least you could do is be a responsible child and hang the clothes and wash the dishes, right? But I'm sure there's plenty of brats out there who take a mother's love for granted. But people who are truly loving don't need a reason to love or help. They simply do so. So even if your mother is tired from work or not, you should still wash the dishes. Trust me, it's a better use of time rather than doom scrolling until 4 AM. And if you could doom scroll in the first place, you have enough time to care about your own family, bruh. On the contrary, when people get treated a little unfairly, they think the entire world hates them and they feel the need to go through their villain arc. But imagine being someone who is willing to love and help no matter what for no reason. Honestly, bro, if you're this person, let's be friends, bro. Isn't taking the no enemies route just a more peaceful and satisfactory way of doing things than taking the villain arc route? Like sure, even if by some chance you get your revenge at the end of the villain arc route, you won, but at the cost of your own soul. And congratulations, you just added yourself to the world hate cycle. Think about it, if someone acts stupid enough, that person will eventually be left alone. That's simply the core of human compassion. It might be normal to sympathize with people, but it's even easier to leave people with problems and those who cause problems. That is because we are taught to sift people who are beneficial to us and leave people who are harmful to us. Meaning that no matter what, there is a threshold for human relationship, in which if someone makes a big enough mistake, that person will either be left alone or hated or both. Which could be good because it helps us stay away from bad people. But also, we could easily just use that as an excuse to justify hating or neglecting people by saying they're just toxic or manipulative, which, seeing the state of the world today, I would not be surprised seeing a couple of those around. And at that point, because you chose the villain route, you just added yourself as one more person in the world hate cycle. But honestly, putting these labels around people, you may not realize it, but you may have that label yourself in other people's perspective. Point is, this kind of apathetic or even cancel culture society is literally hindering us from simply helping and loving each other in tough times. Because instead of helping a falling person up, it is just simply easier to keep them down than to educate them. During good times, it is easy to stick close with others, but when problems come, it is easier to just leave or hate that person, especially those who caused the problems in the first place.
So what you're basically saying is that every person is just a jerk.
Well, I think the first step to loving others is admitting that you are not doing enough of that in the first place. After all, if you love those who are close to you and hate your enemies, how are you different from bad people who also love those who are close to them and hate their enemies? I'm sure there are people who are good at heart, but I'm convinced that everyone who is realizes that loving others is mandatory, even to the point of going out of their way to do so. After all, when you have a brother who either has a problem or is the problem itself and you want to help, the problem becomes your own. The greatest acts of love requires selflessness.
Anyway, what's your point?
My point is that we are cooked, and that our generation is even more cooked than ever before. I mean, just a few hundred years ago, if you wanted to get with a girl, you would probably need to court her extensively for half of your youth, and gaining the approval of her entire family to even just hold her hand. But nowadays, you can just skip all of that and search up her name on the internet and see everything before you even speak a word to her in real life. So yeah, we're cooked.